ready?
Yeah. You.
Yeah. Or we just that it.
Let's do this.
Just in.
Straight in. 4 big size. Right.
I'm so happy you two are saying that.
And previews for next week's games.
So welcome to Bragging Rights season 2, episode 24. 4.
You missed 3.
We've done a lot. Just episode a lot. Recorded at Tribal again, obviously, and sponsored by Comscaf.
Welcome back, Craig.
Thanks.
Yeah, did you have a nice week off?
What was I doing? I can't remember. I was at work, so no.
I just like the fact that your friend on Twitter labelled last week's episode as his favourite so far.
Which one?
Callum.
He's not a friend, it's just somebody I know.
He's gone from my mate Callum to he's not even a friend.
Brilliant.
He's an acquaintance.
Brilliant.
Mutual friends.
Well done, Callum. You've turned everyone against you on this panel now.
I still love you. I have no problem with Callum.
To be honest, I don't. I just want. He just sounded good.
Oh, okay. Another old fan lying.
I don't, I'm just feeling that way out.
Wait there. Wait.
I know I'm going to keep tempting you till you get maddened.
So as usual, we're not recording at a usual time. We're recording at a bloody late time. So we're in a bit of a rush. Because
Does come with some key benefits tonight, though. We've managed to get the disciplinary initial outcomes, and we've been able to get some breaking news, which will not only wait an hour for me to say, it won't be breaking news when this gets released on Wednesday.
yeah, I know, yeah.
But at least it's breaking for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I mean, you guys lost, but unfortunately still get to go first because we lost and you're higher in the league. So
Top of the league.
Hello.
I mean, does it matter? Like,
Yeah, it
you're
would,
higher in the league. That's my point. I'm not saying you're not top. I'm just saying you are higher in the
for
league.
as long as we are there, it will matter.
Okay. All right, go on then. Crack on. Tell us all about your wonderful game against Leeds.
To be fair, you say that quite sarcastically, but what a game.
Agreed.
I'm not wrong there. Yeah, we lost. And, you got to give credit to Leeds. Leeds were superb for the majority of that game, especially in defence. Not so much in attack, minus that try, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, it was just one of them. We seem so far away from where we've been the last 12 months maybe, and I think that was highlighted by the bomb tries.
You've said a few things there that pretty much echo what I would have said anyways. I think that it was a hell of a game. I think it was slightly edged out by the Wigan League game for me. I did enjoy that one a little bit more, but that's red and white glasses. We lost, maybe.
No emotion in it. Maybe.
Yeah, it's a bit different. So I do agree with that. I do think Leeds were very, very good on the day. I thought the majority of their players were good. They did, however, still only score 2 tries. And this is not an excuse, but I've been saying week in, week out, if you can hold a team to 2 or less tries, you've got a good chance of beating them. We didn't do this. It's for the first time this week. We didn't do that. We held a team to 2 tries or less and we didn't win. And we bombed 3 tries. And we bombed, in my opinion, 2 out of the 3 that we would have put away 99 times out of 100.
That was that one.
And that's what, for me, if you look at taking positives away from a game, the reality is, they was very good. We didn't seem to be at our best. And yet it was still a very close game. And we did throw away 3 tries.
Yeah.
The first one, literally in the opening 5 minutes.
Hit the tackle.
Budgies,
It was in the second minute.
Yeah, Budgies took an amazing high ball. He's running through, and obviously we get a bit excited and we're passing the ball around. Okay, we could have held the ball, we could have held the tackle. We didn't. You can sort of forgive that one in a way. It's exciting. You're still edging into the game. I can almost forgive the Morg forward pass to the wing to Davies, who did a great finish despite it being a forward pass. That's fast flowing action in the corner. The one that's really irritating is obviously the Tanganoa forward one.
Yeah.
And I actually don't think all the blame is with Kalepi there. I do actually think, unfortunately, as good as he's been for us at the minute, I do think that Brody did just run on a touch too much as well. So it was a combination. But look, we lost.
Quality rugby league players should still be finishing that off.
Yeah, look, we lost the game, and we was beaten by a better team on the day. But there's no way I'm panicking over anything, is my point after that. We bombed, I think, 2 out of 3 certain tries. We bombed 3 tries. That was a good chance of being tries. And with them, it's a different game.
Yeah, massively different game. Would have been roughly 20-0 up. Take the kicks out 16-0 up. That's a whole different ball game to 8-0.
Even one of them, you're 12 or 14-0 up at half time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a totally different mindset for both teams.
Yeah, it was very frustrating, but like Josh just said, like the tries that we bombed, we'd usually score them on another day, and when they come off, they look absolutely superb. They didn't come off for us yesterday. I was very, very disappointed in our defensive efforts, especially on our right edge. Leeds were making a lot of yards down our left edge, but our scramble defence was very good, which enabled us to get back and obviously stop them from scoring. I didn't think Leeds looked brilliant in attack, but in defence, it was so well drilled and so routine that we just struggled, basically.
Yeah, I think the best description for me is that Leeds wanted it more. They wanted it more for the full 80 minutes, and I don't think we did want it for the full 80, unfortunately. I don't think there's individuals to point out and blame from it. It was just not what we were accustomed to, I should say. So obviously a little bit spoiled as fans this year in how successful we've been. And Jake Connor did mention this at the end. The weather, the wind in the first half, I was commenting for the opening 20 like, Jake, because I didn't think Jake Connor had a superstar game. This is not red and white glasses.
We spoke about this.
I don't really understand the calls for at the end being interrogated, saying, and you should be in the England squad, and Carney trying to drag an answer out of him. The way he performed in the game wasn't bad, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't a look at me, I should be in the England team. It was just did his job. But the point being on that, in the first half, his kicks seemed to be going nowhere. Seemed to be struggling. They seemed to be going high, but the wind pulling them back, and it was a bit confusing.
They seemed to go up and down really quick.
It was the wind.
Was it the wind?
It was bad weather, and in the second half we came up against it, and we hadn't put points on the board to be enough in front to withstand that. So they actually had the benefit of the weather in the second half. And again, another one that wasn't as noticeable on TV. Some of the pundits also mentioned there was a bit of rain starting to come. That wind was quite brutal. So I don't think that helped us either. And we didn't capitalise when we had the weather in our favour in the first half. So what can you do?
You saw it on the penalty where he kicked it to touch, and Davis nearly kept it in the second half. You know, proper contact on that, and then is keeping that in, and that's our ball. But yeah, it was just one of those days at the offices for others. And I saw a tweet that said, "The more you remain unbeaten, the closer you are to defeat." I can't remember who put it, but I thought that is an absolutely superb line. Like, if anything is going to sum up yesterday for us, it's that line. And I think it was just one of those days where it could have come at any point. We looked very tired. You know, obviously we lost Mikey, whichever way you look at it, controversially, not controversially. Was he play acting? Was he not? Either way, it's failed his HIA. Won't play this weekend against Lee on Saturday. So, yeah, it was one of those for me.
I'm laughing just because we are struggling a little bit for what to say on it, because we was beat by the better team. There's no excuses. I think that a couple of things that you've mentioned there that do come into play as well. I think we did look a bit tired, and I think you've got to remember we're the only team, barring Wire now, who haven't had that break. And I think we do all get a break in a couple of weeks now, don't we? There is a...
Yeah, it splits 3 and 3, doesn't it?
There's a split, and I think Rovers do finally get one.
2 weeks, I think you have a
we
break.
Play Lee, then Catalan, then we have a break, I believe.
Yeah, I think we play 3 and then have a break.
You know, we haven't had one, so that'll be good. I'm not panicking over anything. I think we'll touch on the Mikey incident, just because it's probably a major point in the game. Play acting or not, that's in our sport now. So people do go down, people do try and milk penalties.
I hate it, but every team's doing it.
I'm not saying I like it. Regardless of what you think, he's caught high, he's caught round the neck. Don't try and tell me, armchair fans, people on social media, if it's not high when a player's hit him in the neck.
Well, I said to you guys anyway in the group, you asked for my opinion, didn't you? And I said, the video referee, by the way, the video ref's explanation of it was rubbish. He said that the knock-on was caused by the contact. Mikey had already lost that ball, but it was still high.
Technically,
soft,
it's still a live ball, isn't it? Because it
yeah.
hasn't touched the floor
So
yet,
the penalty was right. But
for me on that, he's lost the ball because Newman had got up so quickly. Newman got up so quickly because he was a mile offside.
Was he?
So I've watched this back, because at the time I thought it was, but with a couple of beers in and watching it live, so watching the game back, he's not set. So that's why he's in his face, and that's why Mikey spills the ball, because the player's there so quick. Newman celebrating afterwards when Mikey's going off is classless. And I'll bag on Newman because I've said it for a long time.
Not to mention his fake eye gouge allegation against Dino.
I'll come on to that in a second, but Newman is a grub. He's one of the big grubs of the game.
Oh, yeah.
And that is classless.
I didn't see that.
What Jake Connor did at the end, celebrating in front of the Rovers fans, absolutely class. Any Rovers fan that tried to go on the pitch, got mad about it, he's still mad about it now on social, gets mad at me talking about it, you'd love it if Mikey did it. And in the past, you've loved it when Mikey's done it to opposing fans. So grow up.
Since a few weeks ago, where they
where
were
he
giving
stuck
him a
his
load
tongue
of
out,
grief,
yeah.
and then he's got to try right in front of him and give him a load of grief.
Absolutely.
Like we were the same. We hate it. We absolutely hate it when Mikey gives us grief, but we loved it when Connor gave you grief when he was in black and white. It's swings and roundabouts,
Jake
isn't
the
it?
Snake got abused all game from the East Stand, right? Non-stop banter. At the end, he deserves to come over and give it back to us. They've won the
100%.
game. They've beat us.
It frustrates me though because it wasn't like you said earlier, Josh. It wasn't a superb performance from Connor. He's kicked a couple of goals and he's had maybe a 7 performance out of 10. And then he's giving it, that makes it more frustrating because there were other players in that Leeds team. I mentioned them to Dean on the way here. Callum Watkins was absolutely superb every time he got the ball and in defence. Lockie Miller and Ash Handley, all three of them were superb. And Dean mentioned what?
No, just gonna carry on because I'll tell you in a second.
Dean mentioned it's not been talked about, but Ash Handley slotting into centre when he's an out winger. And he's stuck to it.
He come through as a winger. He's now captain of arguably the biggest club in our country, in Leeds. I don't think he's been talked about enough. Like the pressure that guy is probably under, and of a Leeds team that has ultimately underperformed for the last 3-4 years. He's doing a really good job, and he deserves quite a lot of praise for what he's done.
He really does. And what I was laughing at, you're talking about a Leeds team that's just had 6 players announced in the England squad. And very good players included in that. None of which that you've just mentioned have made it into the team of the week. Yeah. But Reece Martin has.
I mean, Reece Martin was good, but was he team of the week good? No. I said to Dean on the way here, the only player that stood up for me, I don't know Arthur Moore got on man of the match because he was probably a 6.
I thought Morg was very good because he was incredibly good under the high ball, particularly in the second half when we felt like we couldn't get into their half or their 20. Yeah, and he was at fault for 2 forward passes, but other than that, I thought Morg was very safe under the high ball, and he looked like he was making half chances going forward. So I don't think he was a 6, but I understand your point.
To quote Roy Keane, it's his job. It's his job. He's a fullback. His job is to catch the ball.
That is his.
Roy Keane, the famous Super League commentator.
Well,
he does love a bit of rugby league.
Yeah, of course he does. Yeah,
no, that's
well
fair.
documented. So.
Love to get him on as like a guest.
God, can you imagine?
I know we're rushing through quickly.
I'm aware that day.
What player was you going to mention then? You was thinking.
Dean Hadley was the only one that stood out for me.
I think
he was constantly getting his nose through the line. He was solid in defence. He was a solid.
Are you just saying that because his wife's over there?
Hi, but no. I literally do think, I said in the ground, I can't remember who I said it to, when they announced the man of the match, I said it can't be anyone other than Dean Hadley, and then they give it to Morg.
So, not the screen, thought Dean had a great game. What was his 250th Rugby League appearance?
You're the stat man.
Yep, I know you haven't got your notes today, have you?
No.
It was also Mickey Mack's 400th career appearance, which is incredible, really. 400 appearances.
He deserves a shout out.
I've got a point about it in a minute, but I actually noted Tom Davies, 212 metres, absolute grafting, non-stop, despite everything, feeling like he was against us and carrying a knock.
Quite evidently.
So there was a couple of things I wanted to mention. I wanted to give Leeds the credit for the second try. It was absolutely sensational. I don't have any problems with any forward passes that you do. I don't think there was any.
I was wondering what you was on about, by the way.
It was in line with me pretty much, and it was.
Had you had a couple of beers though?
No. It was.
You know about the momentum rule, right?
Scrap that. I hate it.
Was it?
Ours was momentum as well. Just saying.
Was it at your place where Leeds scored that try of the season? Was it last year? And was it the kick over from in their own half and Handley caught it, or was that a season?
That was
before?
against Wigan, I think, wasn't it?
I can't recall.
No, it was. It was at Headingley, I believe. No, it wasn't.
It
was at Craven Park. I'll get there in the end.
Season,
yeah, because they had the scrum on the right, kick to the left, Handley caught it. Yeah, that was that. Yeah.
It's the thing about scoring weldies down at your place.
I
isn't
know,
it?
yeah.
But it was a hell of a try, and I think it was so well took and so brave in a way. Very similar to Leon Friday night, brave going for it in them conditions. Leeds rolling the dice there.
Brave from Kendall not to give a forward
Fair
pass
enough.
in front of the
I
stand.
disagree. Something that I wanted to mention about Mickey Max, I thought he had a good game grafting, but Mikey going off exposed the flaw on our bench. The way we'd set up, we didn't carry somebody to come in to replace him, so Jez had to do it. Literally 2 minutes after, Jez had come on to be the spark because Mickey Mack had gone off. We immediately had to bring him back on. It was so noticeably slower, our play around the play of the ball and around the ruck and the speed of ball going out. And so that's where I think we sort of lost it. I actually think up until that point, I know people online are talking about being a one-man team with Mikey. That isn't strictly true. It's the way other players had to shuffle into positions that's changed our outset of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I've got one last thing to say, Craig, before I hand back to you to finish off. I'm obviously a bit disappointed, but 2 games lost all year. You know, we build, we go again. I just want to shout out because we are going to do some questions from him later. But you're going to hear some questions in a bit. They're going to be food related. I did get introduced to Gary, the man, the myth, the legend that's been sending all these food questions in on the comments on YouTube. And it was just really good. I was feeling a little bit delicate from a heavy session on Saturday. I was trying to get down my first pan, and he just put his arm around my shoulder and said, I'm the guy from YouTube that sends the food questions.
Can you please just confirm to me, because I think it'd be absolutely hilarious if he was, that he's just stick thin, about 7 stone wet through? Because I think for a
Just
guy
can't remember.
I wouldn't.
I think it'd be hilarious if a guy that just sends food-related questions was so skinny.
I imagine you've got that from Susan, but he was a tall guy. But most people are tall to me. But no, he was a lot taller than me. I wouldn't say, I thought it was quite broad, but I would say he was a slim gent.
I'm asking if he was. Like, I just think it'd be funny if he was.
Jake's adamant he was thin. So Gary, you're a thin guy.
Not you, skinny.
Did you see disciplinary as well? Because you've been at work.
I've caught little bits of it, but not.
So
Not
no
all
case
of it.
to answer for the eye gouge that
Shock.
Hadley was in for. I actually don't think it was Hadley's hand. If you watch it back, I think it's Mickey Mack's hand.
Now that wouldn't surprise me.
You can see
wouldn't surprise anyone.
You can see the forearm tackle rather than, but maybe I could be wrong on that. And Jared got nothing either.
Which is surprising for dissent, because usually they're or do you mean for the head eye? Or do you mean for the horrendous missed tackle that he give? Take your pick. He had his worst game in a Rover shirt.
Wrap up, Craig.
I could go on about Jared all day after that, because you've been obviously really positive for him, haven't you? But yeah, all in all, I think the Wigan game was the worst thing that could have happened, giving us that pressure to go 6 points clear. We've dealt with the pressure of staying 4 points clear. The pressure of going 6 obviously proved a little bit different, but we'll see how we go next week.
Just glad that it won last week, and so we got to get that record of 15 out of 16, or best start to a season. And look, cup hangovers do happen; they are real. It just takes a month to hit.
Could I just say before you go, 2 weeks ago when we got beat by Cass, you sent me a message and said, Agent Senior and Milner, doing their jobs for Cass, with a salute emoji. So it's great to see Agent Jake and new recruit, Mr. Agent Sam Lasoni, doing their jobs for Leeds.
Ooh, this is some.
No, because you're going to have a go at us, Sam. Just getting warning at Leeds, for God's sake. I've had nothing to give all season, so
No, it's fair.
Shut up.
This is just something I'd be willing to put money on. I do not believe you will sign Lasoni.
We'll find out.
And I also don't know why you want another big pudding that only does 15 minutes.
Us not
We'll
being able to
get
get down
onto
the
that.
pitch.
We'll get onto
Because
that.
according to
Shows
Sky,
we
he's
need
got
some-
world-class tries.
Yeah,
like
we'll get
running
onto that.
in a gap from
So-
10 yards out.
Good banter,
Anyways,
Dean.
all in all, still
all
4
I've got
points
all
clear.
season, mate. So
On to Lee on Saturday.
Yeah, and let's just a little bit from the sponsors.
this week's episode is sponsored by Comscaff.
Commercial Scaffolding, or Comscaff, are a Hull-based company formed over 30 years ago.
They offer a safe and professional scaffolding service nationwide.
For services and enquiries, you can go to comscaff.co.uk or call 01482 782 181.
Sorry,
What are you whispering about?
I was just saying, I skip this every time when it's played.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Why don't you go to the barber shop and tell Alex, who owns Comscaff, that you don't listen to his advert every week?
I just like to get down to the business, don't I?
Does
Listen
Dean
to
look
that.
like he goes to a barber's?
I do
Yeah,
actually.
he gets his beard
Every 2
shaved
weeks,
off.
shaved off, beard.
Do that yourself.
Nah.
No.
Honestly, he looks like Jimmy. after a week's growth. It's nuts.
A little free plug: if you want a good head shave and a good beard trim, go to Image Marmaris on
Does he
Cot
put
Road.
weight on as well
Hey,
when he grows his beard?
I'm talking. Go to Image Marmaris on Cot Road because Murat is top notch.
Top bants.
Yeah, he's going on holiday on the 12th of August though, so
10th.
10th
Day
of
before
August.
me.
Yeah, sorry.
Too tacky,
To Turkey, yeah.
ironically.
Go on then, let's get.
Can we just play last week's LFC section because it really relates to this week's as well, doesn't it? Really? It's pretty much copy and paste, or paste and copy, whatever it is. I don't know.
I don't think it's as bad.
You was right the first time. Paste and copy.
That's like chips and fish.
It's been a long Monday, okay?
Vinegar and salt.
This is the man that hadn't used a computer in about 25 years. So.
My second-hand.
I'll
iPad.
start you off. So what's the plan then? Big Sam Lasoni to take over from that big pudding of yours who was meant to get Man of Steel.
He's knackered now, isn't
What,
he?
with his massive 55 metres? Best prop in the league?
Who said that? I like
Every
that guy
single
from
Hull fan
Wakefield
for
with
the
a long
first
hair.
7 or 8 rounds of the season. No, yeah, it is apparent that our forward pack for whatever reason as our props for definite have not necessarily died a death, but
I think they've been found out because we've
100%.
only got 2 real prop forwards in Knight and Herman.
you know, I was stop you just there. Not necessarily that we've only got 2 real prop forwards. We've only got prop forwards.
Yeah, and I think teams are cottoned on to that, and they're now stopping. They're getting men in front of Herman. They're getting up quick on him from slow play the balls, from slow passes from dummy half, which is making it easy for the defensive line. And I'm sure we'll get into them aspects of it. But they're stopping them. We've got no other go forward because we're light on forwards.
Was that the
Yeah.
reason why you didn't get out your own half for 25 minutes, right? To
Just
open
go,
the game.
we didn't do the same for the first 25 minutes of the second half last week as well.
And would you put that purely down then to that lack of forwards go forward from the forwards?
We
I should
spoke
say.
about this last night. We had slightly different views, didn't we?
Yeah, you're wrong and I'm right.
Okay.
Shock.
Yeah. We both turned the ball over in similar positions. So it was in there. We was getting the kicks down. They was getting a little bit deeper than us, but they was finding it a whole lot easier to get up the field than we was. My reasoning behind this is they were just much quicker. They wanted to win the ruck. They wanted to get up quicker and play the ball, which then makes it easy for the dummy half, which then makes it easy for the players coming onto the ball to make more meters. You're putting it down to a bit more lack of size. I'm putting it down to lack of speed.
Yeah, but
willingness.
they mix in with one another. Like
Yes, they do.
If you've got and I'll let's go with Zach and who was Zach running at? Who would Zach have been running at in terms of a second rower this week? Because I know it don't count necessarily for this week, but over the last however many weeks, you would have had, say it's Hull versus Rovers, you would have had Zach running at Batch.
Yeah.
There is a big size difference. And then you've got it the other way around, Batch running at Zach. Batch is going to make decent meters of a Zach just purely through size. And what he's also going to get at the end of that is he's going to get a quick play of the ball purely through size and strength. And I just feel like that's just continued happening. This week it was Ashworth, who's got a bit of size, but he's, in my mind, he's just clearly not fit enough to be playing second row. Then you bring Jed on, who's not played in 14, 15 weeks, and he makes 2 cock-ups. It's just a load of just constant shit that's happened, really. It's the only way I can think of, like, putting it, like, in terms of our second row, it's just shit on shit. That's all we've had every week. You know, it's... Oh,
I don't
fine,
want to just
can't
pin it
write-
on our second row. Though.
but a lot of it is on our second row, because if you haven't got the speed and the strength in your second row to do what they need to do, it then puts your props under pressure. As soon as your props are under pressure, then your halves are under pressure.
But
And as soon
even-
as your halves are under pressure, your outside backs are
But
under
even
pressure.
for me, even with Zach and Ed in the second row, we still haven't got the smallest pack in the league, but yet we still seem to.
We must
find
have
it
the
diff-
smallest second row.
I don't think we have, because I don't think you're saying Batch is bigger than Zach. I'm not convinced of that. I think
if
they're
you
very
use
similar. builds.
Kalepi
Yeah, if
or
you use
Whitbread, who's
Tanganoa
been playing
yeah.
in the second row,
But
then I could get that. But
I-
Batch is a bit
for
of
me,
a...
it is down to speed more than anything. It don't matter how big you are. Like if you're fast, if your ruck is quick and you can find the front, you don't have to be strong to find your front. You just get it, and you're told literally fall down to your front sometimes, won't we? When we was playing, get up, play the ball. Dummy half can get it away. We're struggling from that, running at pace, finding your front, and then you couple with that such slow distribution from dummy half. Yes, I do agree to a point with your SARS, but I think it's an all-round thing. Like, yeah, bit of SARS. Speed, for me, is killing us. Plus, just the dumbness with the ball in our hand. Like, giving away...
Yeah, I mean,
stupid,
the frustrating thing for me was
unforced
Jed.
errors.
Like, Jed came on, made some decent meters, made some fucking brilliant tackles, just stuck his shoulder in and just stopped the man that was running at him, which is what we've missed, in my opinion, at second row. And then I think second time he had the ball in hand, he's like, "Oh yeah, I've got 3 men around me. I'm going to offload it." Well,
That was
what
the
are you
first
doing that
time
for?
we was in there, 20, wasn't it? That player, when you mentioned it. And then the third play he had with the ball, he's falling to ground. He crabbed across the pitch, and it was quite a good run. He'd made 10, 15 metres forward. He'd gone, and it looked like he'd found a bit of space. He had one man tackling him.
I think it was like third tackle as well.
Third tackle, one man tackling him. He's falling to the floor. He's trying to pass it. Where if he'd have just took that tackle, got a quick play of the ball, they're trying to retreat. You've got then something could have happened a lot better than trying to force an offload off the floor.
It's evident in both aspects of what we're saying, whether it's just down to speed of the play of the ball and letting them get set, or whether it's down to just the fact that we've just not got enough power across the field. They made 1,270 metres. We made 860. Like, for me, I look at any team and I think, well, if you're not making at least 1,000 metres, you're just not in the game.
What was our completion?
Our completion rate was 66%.
That's
You're not
also
winning,
grim,
you're not winning
yeah, you're
games
not-
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with ball in hand, our game was absolutely shocking. But this is another stat. So if we look at your game, Rovers played the ball in Leeds 20, 19 times. Leeds played the ball in your 20, 16 times. We played the ball in Saints 20, 11 times. They played it in our 20, 42 times.
Jesus.
You know what? Can we try and put a positive spin on that?
Yeah.
That is.
That's
We
what I'm getting
conceded
at.
2 tries.
That's what I'm getting at. Our with ball in hand, our game was absolutely awful. But they're playing the ball 42 times in our 20 and we're only conceding 2 tries. Our defence was outstanding.
It was, and you need the credit for that. There's a long-winded point here, as always is with me, but I think right now in the Super League we have the top 6. I don't think that's changing. I think the playoff teams are set. I don't think you're good enough for the playoffs. I also think that Saints that have just crept up into 6th and overtook you, I don't know what to make of them.
Saints are fourth.
I don't.
Right.
They didn't overly impress.
Sorry,
Sorry to butt in.
Wakefield.
I meant Wakefield. Sorry, I meant now that Saints have done this right, Wakefield have crept over you. I believe Wakefield are that much better, and they've played some tough games, right? They've got some easy run-ins. They've got an easy run-in towards the end of the season of Wakey, right? Saints have played Salford 3 times, right? Before Wakey have played them once because of this stupid Luke fixture, right?
Ridiculous.
So when you start to look at that and you think, well, actually, who are this Saints side? We've just watched them beat Leeds with a great game plan, but before that, every week they was calling for Welland's head. They are a very inconsistent team. Probably more inconsistent than I think you guys are. And you watch that game back, you look at the scoreline and you think, what have I just watched here? How is this such a low-scoring affair when you guys can't go forward?
Yep.
And yet they're camping on your line. Are you fantastic in defence, or are they useless going forward? Or is it a combination of both?
I've said all season I don't rate Saints. I thought they was good at getting up the pitch, which is pretty standard for Saints anyway. I would say they're quite good with a go forward. You've got Clark at dummy half who can still do a job, but I think Saints, and someone said it, I don't know if it was Wellands or Cartwright, they was very well organised in their halfbacks, generals leading around the pitch. I could not agree less with that comment, whoever made that. I think Lomax and Mbai they are poor halfbacks for what you would want Saints to have. They're lacking a general. They're lacking a bit of spark in the halves. With that, I think that would totally change them. But with them, I think they'll be a 5th, 4th best team, and they're not going to do any damage in the playoffs.
No, I don't think, but I just felt there was very similar. The game was similar to your game versus Warrington last week, right? I just felt it was the same thing where they did have loads and loads of chances. You did defend well, and a lot of the times that defending was getting a hand into. They had got another repeat set, but the effort from the FC lads is clear, and they do play as a team. And Cartwright said
One
that.
thing can't be questioned.
But at the same time, what was Saints offering? Because to play 40 balls and not get over more, they obviously are lacking in half, so they're not clicking on what we're doing. And I said last week, Warrington were the same when they had so many repeat sets on your line. And I do think it's a combination of both.
Yeah.
Which is why when you opened and said, let's just run last week's commentary back, I thought, there's a lot of comparisons.
Yeah, there is. We'll talk about our defence, and credit to it. I asked for a change on that right-hand side last week. We got that. I thought we've bagged on him a lot, and we spoke. I don't think we bagged on him last week. I think we spoke well about him on Rapana. He had I called it a no-frills game. He was solid with the ball, nothing special, nothing bad. It was tackled well, defended, read the line well, took the ball up when he needed to set the ball up. The game he needed to have, I think. Back to basics. And then you put Jedin back at second row, and we look so much stronger on that right-hand side. We don't think we conceded. No. Both tries come down the left. We looked really... It was pleasing to see. And I put down here, if I can find it... no, I can't. Oh. Overall, though, much improved on the right. Didn't give me heart palpitations like it has done most of the season when the opposition attacked. Yeah, okay. Really pleasing to see.
I just wanted to say, I know we're a little bit past it, but just last week as well, Warrington 37 play the balls in our 20.
Fair enough.
Honestly, that's what I'm saying. I think it's so similar.
And a lot of theirs came down that edge.
Yeah.
That we've now changed up.
Yeah, the concern for me, I still have a slight concern down there, and it was, you picked up on him last week, a couple of missed tackles. He got run over, bundled over this week.
Cust, yeah.
Cade Cust, he's a slight worry for me. He's making bad reads in defence. He's getting bundled over in attack. I don't know if I'm reading too much into it, if he's just had a off couple of games, because he has been pretty consistent for us this season.
The
Just
way
needs
I
to fix
see
himself up a little
To be
bit.
clear, when I brought him up last week, it was because I was shocked that he'd made defensive errors, because I had rated his defence before that.
Paid more attention to him this week, and then 10 minutes into the game he gets bundled over and there go Bardi down that right hand side, which was the only miss-up we had really down that right hand side.
The way I see it is an halfback. Don't sign an halfback to defend, and I've said it all the way through, and I've said it in terms of May, because a lot of the positives that come from Tyrone May are defensive instead of attack. Yeah, I can forgive an halfback getting bundled over as long as he's doing the deeds in attack, and unfortunately he's not at the minute.
There's a reason he didn't stay at Wigan.
Oh yeah, 100%. I agree. He's not the number 6 that's going to lead us to the promised land. But for now, with a fully fit team, with a fully fit spine, he's not our main priority in terms of what we need to replace.
That's fair.
There was a quote from Paul Wellens, which was I read it and thought, yeah, that's good. That he said in his whole live interview, the Hull supporters will go away disappointed because they have lost the game, but I don't think for one second you can question the commitment of the players in the team. They are building something here, and certainly in comparison to what they were doing 12 months ago, those fans should be very excited. And I think he's bang on with them comments.
Yeah.
The only question I left written down.
Is it a dickish question?
It'll come across like it.
Okay, fair enough.
So yeah, then.
Prep yourself, Soul fans.
When do you actually see that win at homecoming? Because just let me just go back on this first. I've asked you twice. You specifically, Dean, actually, because Jimmy didn't answer one time. But I twice said, when does it become mental, right? And you denied it the first time, and then denied it the second time, and now I'm starting to wonder, Is it because you're seeing the effort from the players, you don't see it as there's going to be a mental issue and the players won't see it that way? Or is there something there? I'm more concerned about, I don't know what fixtures you've got, but I think you've got a tough fixture coming up this week.
Can I answer this the way I answered this on Umbersat the other day? Because I got interviewed
there's
straight
another
after
point
the game. Take last season out of it. You have to take last season out of it because it's a complete write-off. Look at all the teams we've played at home this year. They're all above us in the league. They're all top 6 teams.
Apart from Cass.
Apart from Cass, which was the outlier. So I think we hopefully will be able to be in the game on Thursday against Wakefield, and possibly come away with some points, hopefully. But I think, the way we're playing at the minute with the spine that we're currently playing with, you're probably looking at an Huddersfield or a Salford or
Which we've got in the next 5 weeks. Or
something of the like.
I can see it being Salford if I'm honest, unless we get 2 certain players back, which I ain't going to bring up because we brought them up every week.
Broken record. Isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. My answer to this is I'm personally not concerned. There was some murmurings I've had, not murmurings, some conversations I've had with people, and they're like, the players are playing like they're under pressure, and I'm like, well, they shouldn't be under pressure. The fans was not putting them under pressure on Saturday. Could see the effort and desire to win the game. We come up short. The fans clapped them off at the end of the game. Yeah, so there's no like moaning and groaning from the fans. My only concern not getting a win at home is I've seen my team win 10 times this season, or is it 10, around that mark, but these home fans who can't afford to go to away games and put all that money into a season pass at home, and they still haven't seen their team win. And
That's a lovely comment, but come on, how much free travel have you given?
no, I'm just saying,
You
like,
still got-
you can't, all them fans, you've given free travel for just
I
about
know,
every away
I know,
game.
but
I do. You are right. So, with all due respect, mate,
get that.
not everyone is as fortunate as you and I to be able to afford a ticket. You know what I mean? There's people in this city, no disrespect to them, that don't work, that have got a couple of kids to look after. And if you don't work, you've got a couple of kids to look after. 30 quid for a ticket, plus a fiver, 40 odd quid, plus then the drinks, plus then the food. Even with free travel, unfortunately, from both sides of the river, it's too much.
I just like to see the home fans rewarded for, like we saw what was served up the last few years. The guys who buy the season passes year on year out, a home win for them would be nice, more than me who sees them away from home every other week. So
You also got to think of people like old boy Dave that comes with us.
Yeah,
You just don't
old
want to
boy.
come to an away game.
he don't want to do away games.
My mum can't.
He's too, like he said, it's too much for him. He comes to the home games, he sits with us. For the likes of him, he's more. Yeah.
All
all
I'll say,
I asked was what game was you going to win at home. I didn't.
all I'll
you've got-
say,
you've got
Wondering how many
full
cans of
answer.
worms you've
all
got.
I'll say with regards to the not winning at home thing, the only people that seem bothered, or the only people that really seem aware of the fact that it's a year, because genuinely, until I went on radio the other day, I didn't have a clue it was coming up to a year, like the actual date. The only people that seem bothered are journalists and Rovers fans. I, as an Hull FC fan,
Same people who are bothered about Rovers losing this weekend. Journalists and all fans.
yeah, it's always going to be the same.
Of course it is, yeah.
Like, it is what it is. We've come through a tough period. I didn't expect us to be even where we are now. So, yeah.
Right, wrap up. Just want to mention the reserves beating Saints on Friday night. In the write-up, it says plenty of academy players were playing in this game, so well done. Callum Kemp, Ben Johnson and Joe Ward scoring the tries in a 14-10 victory, the 5th successive victory of the year. So well done to them, boys. That's it for the Hull section.
Cool. Well, let's talk about what's on at Tribal then. You ready to press some buttons? Yeah? Cool.
Yeah, we sent you the right stuff.
So, Thursday, we've got FC at home to Wakefield, 8 p.m. kickoff. Again, if you can't make it for whatever reason, come watch it on big screen. Saturday, Rovers are away at Lee. I doubt there'll be any free travel because you're poor. So, Yeah, if you can't make it, come watch it on the big screen. Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoff. And then...
The only people that are bothered are journalists.
and Jimmy. And then next Sunday, so not Sunday coming, so Sunday the 20th of July, Kingswood Laughs Comedy Night at Tribal. You get free drink with the code Tribal, or I'm assuming just come to the bar and say Tribal? No? Oh, with your tickets online. There you go. And I'm sure there'll be links and stuff put on Instagram and all that sort of stuff. So don't forget to follow Tribal on Facebook and Instagram. And that's about it for that. Are we... News? News? What? Oh, shut up and just go to the news. You get 15% off if you bring your season pass. Come on, Josh.
I was just confused as to what was happening, but
No, me too.
News if you want.
I'm trying to make it shorter because you're in a rush.
snappy.
Yeah.
Breaking news then. So Super League's overseas player allowance has officially been increased, with clubs informed they can now have 10 non-federation trained quota players from 2026.
We've got a question.
Is this confirmed by the league?
Well, Craig's my source.
Susan was mine, and Hull FC _fanzone green tick was
So no,
Susan's.
So
Well-
I'm going to leave that as a potential news story because there is a question on it, so we'll get to it in the question
Yeah,
section.
okay.
But it could potentially be breaking news. Some quick ones then to run through. Joel Tompkins has been given the Catalan gig until the end of the year, which
Rectum of Perpignan.
They can't find anyone then.
I
Or
don't
someone
think-
don't want to start till next year.
Yeah, I think that's more likely. I don't think we'll see him next year. In other news surrounding Catalan, though, they have actually now officially announced that they're signing the Canterbury Bulldogs halfback Toby Sexton on a 2-year deal. So this will be all to do with the fact that Bulldogs signed that superstar from West.
Lockie Galvin.
Yep.
Traitor.
So,
Dead to me.
2-year deal, rumoured around 500,000 Aussie dollars a year. So quite big money, really. Obviously, Catalan's always had cash. The big thing I had around this is that Sam Tompkins will actually finally stop playing at the end of this year, so they will lose him. But also, Theo Farge is off contract as well. So they're just doing their business quite early to say this is who we want in our halves next year.
So they're going to need a... Oh no, they've got that young fullback anyway, aren't they? So they're still going to need another half then, aren't they? Carey's going and Farge.
His name.
Yeah, they've got Bisha as well. But yeah, so
Have they?
maybe
So-
they'll to do... Yeah, that's the fullback you mentioned.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Spiro Bishi, I think it's called something like that.
Prospect. There's a player there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Any more?
On that,
On the news, just
yeah,
in general?
there's a few more, yeah.
Oh, okay. Go on. then.
State of Origin this Wednesday, the Desada in Sydney.
Blue. I might actually get to watch one.
That will be shown at Tribal, so if anybody is twagging work and wants to come and have an early part, this is the place to be.
My boss is off this week. I might turn up.
Big screen, it'll be on. So yeah, it's Desada as well because it's one apiece, so obviously massive. Stupidly, Rugby Union have put a Lions game on at the same time.
Yeah, I did think that. Yeah.
Are you
But
kidding?
Bit
Yeah.
daft.
And to be fair to a lot of Union fans, they are slagging off the Union sort of governing body to say you've messed up. We will lose fans to State of Origin because if there's any Rugby League event that's bigger or at least challenging us, it is State of Origin.
And it's only a warm-up Lions game as well.
Well, I
isn't
mean,
it?
I think any rugby league event down under is going to get more fans than Union anyway, innit? So, yeah, bit daft.
possibly.
What was it? Lions versus who is it? First game against the Aussies, or
No, it's still a warm-up game. They played the Reds or the Waratahs, or they just played them. I get confused.
something? Yeah.
No, a couple more ones to quickly finish up then. First one being that, in good news, Super League did celebrate the millionth person through a gate of a game this season. So they calculate that's on all of the ticket sales and all of the attendances. And apparently it's the first time we've done it this early in the season since 2008. So we've matched the record by doing it in this round.
Does that
Apparent-
include Magic as well?
Yeah.
Because that was quite early in the season. Not
I
as a-
believe it
yeah.
includes Magic. But apparently it actually happened at your game,
Oh.
given the timing of the weekend. So it will have happened during the whole game.
Well, it was me.
It was a St Helens.
Of course it was.
It was a sense fan. Sort of.
Lions play the Brumbies, by the way. Just
Brumbies,
for the
there you
record.
go. And then two more. One I found a little bit shocking, but not as shocking as my last point. But the first one, that Wakefield have announced that Josh Griffin will probably depart at the end of the year, and it looks like a deal with York is all but done. Josh Griffin has not only been a standout for Wakefield this year, finding some of his best form, he's in the Super League Team of the Week this year. Team of the Week this week. And this year, I think he's up there for being one of the best players.
For the Wigan game a couple of weeks ago as well, wasn't he? He's come back really well from injury because he was dogged for the first couple of months of the season and the back end of last season. I think he missed the grand final, so for the championship. So yeah, he's done really, really well.
I think my perspective on that is I would, if it was me, prefer to leave Super League before I got booted from Super League, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I understand that. I do think there is a little bit behind the scenes here that he's really heavily involved in trying to be part of strength and conditioning. He works with who's the Hurricanes? Midland Hurricanes?
Midlands, yeah.
So he actually works with them now, and it looks like part of the deal with York, if it goes through, which very, very imminent, is that he'll be part of their S&C team going forward as well. So I think there's more to it than just playing. There's going to be some after Rugby League sort of employment going on.
I like
so
to see that from players preparing for
definitely.
the future.
And then the final one, which is breaking news right now of an hour ago. Again, it won't be breaking news on Wednesday. But yeah, Castleford have parted ways with Danny Maguire this evening. They have sacked him as coach. I haven't wrote the stats down properly, but they've won 3 of 17 games this year. Seems to ring a bell. 2 or 3 out of 17.
4 of 18 he's been in charge.
4 of 18 since he's been in charge. And they've said, no more.
I think it's massively unfair. A team that was behind the 8 ball at the beginning of the season, they've had to sign players during the course of it to try and build a squad to compete in Super League, and now they've got rid of him. I think there must be more to what we know. There always is, to be fair, but I think it's slightly harsh, that one from me.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one, that one.
I think for me it's just a strange one when, alright, Saints have come back up now, but people have been calling for Welland's head all year, and it doesn't look like he's done anything to make that Saints team
last year as well,
to make that Saints team anything special. And then there are people now discussing, obviously you've got Sam Burgess' performance at Wire. He's not getting away with it, isn't fair. They are absolutely injury plagued. I'd go as far as to say Wire are probably the worst hit team for injuries. I think that's fair, but still Castleford have not been that bad to warrant a Maguire sacking this early for me.
18 games is not long enough for a head coach to put his stamp on a team that, like Dean just said, has been bringing in new players throughout the season. So they haven't had a settled squad, and yet they've still ran us close. Yes, we've alluded to it was earlier on in the season.
Nearly beat Wigan 2 weeks ago.
Nearly beat Wigan a couple of weeks ago.
Nearly beat you guys first game of the season.
Yeah. It's a very, very odd one, you know. Maguire's still young, still learning, and young in terms of his coaching career, I mean. So yeah, just
you're not
there's
gaining
got to be
anything.
something else.
They're not going to make the playoffs, right? So you're building for next year. So why not see the season out?
Let him plan.
Let him see what the weakness are. He's got a great team around him. We should know because he poached him from Rovers. Like
he's brought Chester in as well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, we see it in all sports. Just owners too quick to just pull the trigger. But I have got one last bit of news which links up with the first bit of news.
It was that long ago. What was the first bit?
First bit of news was about the quota being extended.
Oh, yeah.
FC have completed a deal to sign Sam Lasoni.
Ooh.
Have they really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm wrong quite
Not
a
announced
lot,
by the club,
but that's the
obviously.
quickest I've...
Announced by Old Daily Mail. But,
Oh, have you?
you know, when has Dan ever confirmed anything that's not been right? Except Judah
Again,
Wimber.
we'll see when I'm wrong officially, but Hilldale Mill's been wrong a lot.
Do you want some salt for that? Them words.
No, I'm happy to be wrong. I'm glad they're finally seeing that what they're doing to SASA because, as you say, I was sick of all fans telling me he was the best prop in the league, and I kept saying week in, week out, you're going to run him to the ground.
Well, I think we've all said that at some point.
No. When you say, you're forgetting you two are quite fair on this podcast.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
All on here have said if we don't change our ways, he's going to get worn out like he did last season. At the time when we was, especially me and him, were labelling the best prop in the league, he was the best prop in the league.
Yeah, there's no denying that.
But that's dropped off a little bit because he's worn out. But so it's great to see. Yes.
If he is officially signed, I think he's a great player for you. I struggle to see why Leeds are letting him go, and I
Cap apparently.
Oh really?
Yeah.
And then I hope to see him do more minutes for you, and you don't have an injury crisis because that's what you need.
Definitely.
Anyway, Listeners Lounge,
Yep.
shall we start with the question about the quota? Seeing as though we're ending the news on the...
From Barry.
Is it from
It's
Barry
from Barry on YouTube,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Why did he sound like an
So-
announcer in a working men's club when he said that?
Me?
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know if he's written this out wrong, Susan, or what. But, what you think to raising the quota to 10 overseas players? English players won't get a sniff. Bad for the game, in my opinion. And that question is from Barry on YouTube.
Yeah, there's been a lot made about, Rovers especially. I can use that one because I see it quite a lot. Fans of other clubs saying Rovers don't bring academy players through, etc. I know we've brought a couple through. Avion's just signed a 2-year deal and things like that. But what's going to be the benefit to these lads? These young English lads that are coming through. Now we can have 10 non-federation players. There ain't going to be any. There's going to be no incentive for any club to improve their academy.
For me, I've not got an issue. I've not got an issue with the 10, as long as there is a rule to go alongside it, which there doesn't look like, where you have to have so many English or homegrown
Like
players.
they do in football.
Yeah.
Genuinely don't bother me. And the reason for it, look at last season. And I know that we were kind of an anomaly last season with the way that
you're
things.
not allowed to talk about last season.
But I mean, look at London. The quality in my mind, in terms of English players, isn't there to sustain 12 top class teams. It's just not, and I think we've got to a point where it would be good to have a couple more. I'm not saying because I spoke to Richie Marler at that event, and the option was genuinely there where they might just scrap it altogether. Like that's out. They were that close to just scrapping it and not just improving it to 10, just getting rid of it completely.
Wigan in the 80s.
So, I'm not agreeing with that, but I think another 3 players per team, I don't think it's going to hurt things too much because personally, I just don't think there's enough talent.
Well,
The only thing,
Surely that's down to us to increase that talent.
Well, you're not doing that about it, are you?
well, this is
Signed Avion 2-year deal. And what?
you're actually hitting on the right sides of a very similar point. Your academy, Hull's academy, is better than Rovers' academy. You have a very strong academy, and you've been building that in the background, and that's great to see. It comes at a time when your first team have been playing poorly for a couple of years and are not achieving anything. Not that long ago, we went down. We was relegated. And part of our journey back was having to make shrewd signings. And our journey that went from trying to get back and compete in Super League to where we're at now, trying to compete at the top of Super League, meant that we've had to sort of forego a bit of that academy work. And now we're trying to play catch up. Our academy is not as strong as some of the other teams. It's not as strong as yours. It's not as strong as Wigan. We are now between a rock and a hard place, because if we continue to pump that funding and get players in the academy, we will have to drop back at a level because the players need time to develop. So what will happen is we'll then become a middling team again while other teams go to the top. Or do we want to stay as a team at the top? Because nobody can just bring a team full of academy players in. Even Wigan don't do that, even with how good their academy is. They still have superstars in field. French, people like that. We're now asking the bigger question of what are we asking for from this sport, because we always bang on about trying to keep homegrown talent and keep it to who we are, but then we talk about expansion. If you want to expand it, and this is to become a 14-league team, or it's going to be a 12-league team, but it's in very, very good teams, and there's never 2 rubbish teams at the bottom or whatever, then maybe you need to start attracting more big-name talents from overseas, and you need to become truly international, and that's where it doesn't matter. So that's why, in my opinion, when you say it doesn't bother you, it doesn't bother me if we all agree, which will never happen collectively as fans, what the hell we're going to do with Rugby League. Do we want it to be the best players want to come and play over here, and some teams have 10 Aussies in? 10 Aussies, 1 homegrown bloke, 2 Welsh lads, and the bench is full of French. And, that's not Catalan. That's not Castleford. Yeah, it is. If that's what we want, is that going to bring the sport in? Is that going to make the sport better? And are we going to get more competitive rugby at a higher level? If that works, then...
As well, when there's so many people talking about having 14 teams because they don't like looped fixtures, well, what players are going to play in them extra 2 teams when there's already not enough British talent to play in the 12 teams that we've got? It's...
Look at Salford up to player number 55, right? Now, I'm not
glad
saying
they've done
Salford,
that, by the way, because they text us off the top
record
spot.
off you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they would get everybody. There's loads of talent, but there is a chance that there is talent out there. If there was that many good English players, the moment that teams start dropping down, they'd be snapping them up, coming to the likes of us and saying, "Do you want a first team game?" Instead of them staying in the academy.
Yeah. Right, let's move on. I think we all answered that differently. Yeah. Question from at Lamtara95 YouTube.
Yeah, something like that.
Yep.
Near enough.
Is it now time to realise Mikey's more important to the team than we thought? Both losses this year have come when he's missed the whole or a large part of the game. Well, this is down to you two to answer this one.
No, is my answer to that one. You know, we played, was it the Wigan game, wasn't it, where we lost Mikey, I think. Was it the Wigan game, yeah? And Wigan...
Was it after the semi-final as well, the Wigan game? There was
No,
off,
it was after a derby.
There was after a week off, weren't they?
It was
After the Challenge Cup derby game, yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Sorry. But yeah, Wigan would do that to most teams. We've seen them do it. Maybe not at the moment because they're not on the best run of form. But and then yesterday, we was as equally poor with him as we were without him. Especially going forward, we looked a little bit disjointed and a bit disorganised going forward. So for me, ask it again next week because
Yeah, you're without him, are you?
we're out without him because he's filled his HIA. But then you look at the game where we lost him in the Challenge Cup game against Hull, and Litton came in, and we didn't miss him. So people are missing that just because of the two that we have lost without him. So
it's always hard when you lose potentially your best player or the player that's going to do a lot. We suffered when he went off yesterday. That's obvious. I felt he was having an okay game. I thought he was playing better than the two halves he was playing against up until he went off. I said before, I don't think Croft did a lot, and I don't think that Connor was amazing, but they still beat us, not taking away from that. But my point in that is, you can go to any team. You guys right now can't do anything without Asiata.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not half-back, that's one player. Wigan are scraping wins by without French, and that's including the superstars they've got in field still playing. So, go around the league. Huddersfield haven't done anything this year. Chris Milne's been injured. Clune, not Tam Milne, Clune. But the moment he comes in, they manage to scrape a win together. So any team you put their potentially best player in or one of the best players, there's going to be a noticeable difference because it's not one player, it's the organisation and what they do around the team.
Let's as well look at it from this point. You blew 2 tries with him off the pitch, I think, was it? Was he off the pitch at that point when you blew them 2 tries? Any other day, they're going in and, like you said, you're 20 points in up at half-time. So I don't think you need to read too much into it, or the fans don't need to read too much into it. You'll get a better idea of how you are without him.
just ask us again next week.
Yeah.
That'd be my response to that.
Fair enough. Another question. James Wilson on Insta. It's a whole question, but what's your thoughts on this? Where does Hardacre rank amongst this year's new recruits? What are Josh and Craig's opinions through unblinkered eyes?
You're going to have
Would
to
you class our eyes as unblinkered?
You're going to have to go down to Specsavers over there, mate, and get some of them unblinkered eyes.
These are from Madeline, mate. Anyways, for me, Hardacre, I said it to Dean on Saturday, he was absolutely outstanding. He's done you a massive, massive job considering he's not a second row. He hasn't looked out of place. Was he just referring to the Hull signings?
I don't know.
Or in the season?
I don't know.
Do it from a Hull perspective and a league perspective.
Well, from a Hull perspective, absolutely. I think he's probably more important. Maybe Asiata is in front of him.
Asiata's more important, but I feel like Zach has been, for me,
he's
our
not
best
far
signing
off.
this year.
Absolutely.
Zach has to take it in your team because the other signings you've had have either let you down at times massively, or have been injured, or don't perform to a high level week in, week out. And, you know, the humble pie I'm taking on Zach, even though I've said the same things as day one, never said he can't do it on the pitch. I've said, give me a full season and don't mess it up off the pitch, right? And I'll keep saying that until the end, and then I'll say it, he's done it, right?
He's doing it at the minute.
And then you'll say he's got another year on his contract.
But in that time, what he's doing on the pitch and the fact that he's doing it in a professional way, I think he's been your most important signing. And he shouldn't have been, because you should be getting more out of other players. Rapana should be doing more, we know that. You would get more from Asiata if he didn't have an injury and so on. In comparison to the rest of the league, is he? Because that question could be taken two ways.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. There's a lot better players and players that are making a much bigger impact in the league.
I think for importance to us, I put him in the top 5 of the signings of the season in the league. Maybe through black and white specs. I don't know. You lot can shoot me down on that, but undoubtedly our best. Yeah.
I'd need to have a look at who all the other signings are to make a statement like that, but he's definitely going to be up there.
Yeah, if he's not top 5, he's very, very close.
Yeah.
Right, a question we've all wanted to answer.
Is it Gary?
It's Gary's.
Yes. I'm so excited for this. This is like the opposite
Gary's
of when your mate asked a question. I can't remember his name.
Gary-
My acquaintance.
Yeah.
Just to put into context for listeners who don't know and viewers who don't know what we're on about, Gary comments on our YouTube videos most weeks, and he drops, or has dropped a few times, at the end of his opinions comments, what food-related questions.
Yeah.
And we haven't asked any of these, but we're asking the 3 that he's asked now. So, the first one,
Saved him up.
what is your takeaway of choice? Second one, or should we go through the first one first?
Yeah,
Go for
first
it.
one.
You're in
First
charge,
one,
mate.
yeah, go through the first one. So, what is your takeaway of choice, Craig?
Mine would be... I've got 2.
You
It's
can only have
either-
one.
I want 2. I'm fat.
Does that mean I get 2 as well?
You can have 1.5. You're not quite at mine.
All right.
Mama's Greek Kitchen.
I'm on dust then.
Greek.
Great.
Give me a
all right.
gyros. Or a barbecue meat feast, calzone, barbecue base. There's me 2.
I would say Greek Kitchen's up there in my top 3. It is so nice. When I go for a takeaway, I'm always looking maybe for a burger. It used to be dope burger and that, but I generally think the best takeaway in Hull at the minute for me is Top Dog on South Coast.
Yeah.
Just what they offer, and it's always hot and it's always so nice.
Top what?
Top Dog.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
DAWG.
Oh.
Yeah.
Top Dog.
Okay.
And Tribal is really, really good as well. That was my pick, by the way.
Do you do takeaway?
So
No then.
no, for
If you
for
let-
half the city, no.
Amy,
Can
if
I
you'd
go
let
on
me-
Uber Eats? Can I go on Uber Eats or just eat and order food?
If you would let me finish, but unfortunately I can't get Top Dog when I'm at Rovers, so what I do is I go to the amazing Tribal tent in Craven Street and get a fantastic... I always come and say hello, I just don't
Why
eat
are you
your
lying
food.
for?
I do.
Right, for me, it's Top Dog. Me and Josh have had
Top
conversations.
what, sorry?
Top Dogs.
Can I pet that
me and Josh have had conversations about this quite a few times. The other one for me, because I live 2 minutes from it, and it's costing me an absolute bomb at the minute because they've just opened across from here. Five Guys. Yeah, Five Guys, and then the mango milkshake as well on top. I hated milkshakes until I tried that a few months ago.
I still need to try a bacon milkshake.
Oh no, I can't go there.
This
Go on
food
then.
section is the happiest the four of us have
I
been
know.
today.
I know. I'm a straight up Indian guy.
Chow?
I'll lamb tandoori, Whiffam tandoori, any tandoori, and much like Smithy, if I'm ordering it, it's man. I'm not sharing it. But yeah,
Like
Bruno.
Joey from
Prawn
Friends.
Bruno.
yeah,
James doesn't share food.
I don't share food,
No.
but yeah, Indian for me. I don't care where it's from.
Next one, and this is going to throw up some questions. Fletcher's, Skelton's, or Greg's? I was disgusted with you lot, by the way, when you threw this other one in.
Yeah,
Last
me,
week.
me too. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Go on then,
Um,
Craig. I don't think Nails will remember for Skelton's, though.
No.
No. Do
You
remember?
are 18 months older than me. Don't start acting like you're ancient.
30.
What?
2.5 years.
No, you're 18 months older than me.
No.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
On today's episode,
February 87.
on today's
August
episode of
89,
Sibling Wars,
30
Look,
months.
right, Big Ralph
Carry on.
always said you was 18 months old.
Well,
Hey, just work it
Ralph's
out.
wrong. He can't. Not good at maths.
I ain't got a calculator. later.
for me, Skeletons. It just reminds me of my childhood. Obviously, it's not around anymore. It's very upsetting. Second place is Fletcher's.
Still got cake room in Ezel Square though. If you want a
Yeah, it's not the same.
No, the
It
cakes are
definitely
just
is.
the same.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's
I'll
open
agree
for
with
debate,
you.
that one.
All right, go on then. Go on then, Mr. Copeland.
Yeah, I remember Skelton's, but I was too young to have any fond memories of it. I just remember it being there. I do seem to remember maybe the cakes were particularly nice. Maybe like
Pinafores were horrendous.
sausage rolls.
That like
But
pale yellow
How
and
are we on
brown.
to this?
It's Gary.
It's light-hearted, innit?
if
Blame
it,
Gary.
We've both had a bad weekend. Light-hearted fun.
I do prefer Greg's for the majority of stuff, like a sausage, bean and cheese melt or something like that. But I do actually, and I know a few people disagree with me a lot of this, I prefer Coupland sausage rolls to Greg's.
Yes! That is, you are the first person that's ever agreed with me on that. My answer is exactly the same as Josh's.
You are both wrong.
Is that because you get 4 for the price of 1? Like you
No,
get at
it's
Greggs?
because they are better. They are superior.
So for me, I'm going to show my age now because I went to secondary school at Winifred Altby, and is your hand all right?
Yeah, it's fine, yeah.
And oh, sorry, I don't know why I'm so
This is fucking carnage.
throwing me right
Wild
off.
class
So
carnage.
for me, I went to Brands Home Centre, as it was called, and they had a Skeltons and they had a Fletcher's in there. You could get a sausage butty for about 80p from Fletcher's, and then I used to go down to Skeltons and get 4 sausage rolls for about 50p, and that was my dinner most days.
Didn't you ever
week
used
in,
to
week
go
out.
back to Backer Market?
Back
and
of
get,
market when Fletcher's shut, yeah, and get the
Backer
garlic
Market
bread.
and get the garlic bread
yeah,
for 50p,
yeah, that was when Fletcher shut
If
off.
we didn't lose viewers in the chaotic start 2 weeks ago, we might lose them
We've
during this
roped them
segment.
back in. now,
I
it's all good.
guarantee you, most of our comments will be the answers
Yeah,
to
I
these.
hope so.
Tell you
so
what, though,
it's-
cherry Danish from Copeland's and a Bavarian slice from Greg's. They are both top tier.
Skelton sausage rolls, Fletcher's
I'm fat.
sausage sandwich. But a shout out, because this wasn't mentioned. Remember Woodheads? They used to do the best vanilla slices ever.
Fields is for vanilla slices.
That's before my time.
I got Big Ralph on the other day. Toffee vanilla slice. Took it to him. Went
level.
to see him at his home. Took it to him after he's had his dinner. I was like, "Do you have dessert?" He
We'll
went.
put him into a coma with
He
that.
was like, "No, why?" And I just opened the box and he was just like salivating at the mouth. All 3 of his
brought you
teeth
this,
were like on
I
show.
brought you this cinder block.
Go on then. So is that you've just answered yours then, haven't you? Really?
Yeah, I'm
Coupons.
definitely
Right. Well,
with
that's
Josh.
the last one then. This is a quick
dear.
one. Chip spice, yes or no?
Absolutely.
Absolutely 100%. I won't have chippy without chip spice and vinegar on my chippy. I think chip spice is the greatest thing to come out of Hull.
Yeah.
Apart from
The beautiful South.
Mikey Lewis.
I was close.
No, I didn't know what to think fair. But yeah,
Fair
I just
enough.
think if you don't have
The
chip
cogs
spice,
were
you're
going,
wrong.
but you're trying to struggling then, weren't you?
Yeah, I wanted to say something
chip
better.
spice, 100%. Yes.
It depends.
We're not asking if you put it on your cereal.
Well, like,
Chip spice on your chips, yes or no?
well, it depends where my chips are
Sure,
from.
yeah.
Like, if I'm getting my chips from, if I'm getting cheesy chips or whatever from a takeaway, then yeah, sling it on. But if I'm getting McDonald's, no, get me a load of salt.
Stop being
It
facetious.
depends. And if I make chips at home, like I'm doing tonight when I get in, I'm putting salt on them, not chip
Listeners'
spice.
Lounge is done. Dave Goldspink on YouTube. Thanks for the question. I'll ask that next week because we're running out of time. So thank you.
Sorry, lad. We got time to do previews.
Yep, quickly.
Go on then.
Us.
I think we'll sneak it.
Really?
Yeah.
Dean nearly fell off his seat.
Fucking hell. Okay.
For the people that listen and don't watch, you are missing out sometimes with the facial expressions.
Well, I feel like we could just copy and paste last week's for next week as well.
I know I
but
say a lot of stupid stuff, but that there, I just...
I think we'll sneak it. We've
I've
got home
written down-
advantage, haven't we?
We must be smarter. We must be quicker. Can't see much squad rotation. No fresh injuries. There we go.
Been one of them.
I would
hasn't
like to see Charles start, but I'm back in working.
I'd like to see Charles on the bench at least instead of Briscoe. But we had a conversation about that at the beginning of last week's game, and
You were wrong.
I wasn't wrong.
Yeah, it was because Burrow went off. So what was the point in carrying Briscoe on the bench when Burrow went off? Yes, he had to come on for Rapana's HIA, but he just moved Chamberlain to centre and then Ashworth back
Well, I
to
don't think I was wrong as
Well,
such.
Should you save this for your match bit, not your preview bit, please?
On volume 2 of
Bad
Sibling
that.
Wars.
I would like to see Charles in the squad.
Yeah, me too. Cool.
Okay.
Kemp would be nicer.
You guys are...
Big task for us, yeah. Big task for us. They're fighting for top 3. Obviously, they're third or fourth, fifth at the minute. Something
Leeds
like
are
that.
third, aren't they?
Something like that. Anyway, they're fighting for top 4, top 3. So massive game at the Sports Village. So obviously without Mikey, be tough. Will we recall Richardson? Remains to be seen. I
Have
can't
you got
see.
that option?
He's done his 2
He
weeks.
only did a 2-week loan.
But I think it might be a rolling. We don't know the details.
So I'd like to think yes, because he's an out-and-out halfback. We don't really have anybody else who can go in there. We can't expect Mickey Mack to play.
There's a full article on Love Rugby League of the 5 choices we've got to play there. Yeah. Danny Rich, Jez Litton, PLT, Hiku, Morg.
Who would you go for?
Personally, I'd go for Richardson because he's an out-and-out fullback, out-and-out halfback. Sorry, with a kicking game.
Morg and put Broadbent at fullback.
But then we don't know Tommy Davis's injury. If it was just a knock, whether he'll be fine.
Yeah, but you got Bove to fill in for there.
Well, yeah, but it's all about the shuffle, innit? It's how much does not the truffle shuffle. How much does Peters want to play Booth without the risk of over-tiring him?
He's had a couple of weeks out, hasn't he?
He has,
It's
but
a question.
it's one of
To
those.
answer, isn't it?
Rather him to have that headache than me. But that's why he's paid the money he's paid to make them decisions. So
My head says that we won't win this game, but my heart says that we'll just nick it, and I will back us to win it on the Predictions League. But if I'm being honest, I think it's a step too far for us to go there. It wasn't that we played that bad this week. Yes, it wasn't great, but we bombed 3 tries. I can just see it being a little bit of a stumbling block again. They are on a high after beating Wigan.
I see it the other way. I think it's a stumbling block for Lee. I don't think Lee can back up after what they're putting against Wigan. But
Fair.
we'll get onto that in
I'm with you with that. So, but we'll see.
Predictions now.
My time to
Super
shine.
fast.
Super fast.
Yeah.
I was rapid last week.
Yeah. Take a leaf out of Dean's garden.
I like it when you name all the stadiums. I don't know what they're on about.
Good. Over at the Circle, Thursday night, Hull FC versus Wakefield. I'm going to go with Wakefield by 8.
Wakefield by 18.
Wow. Wakefield by 4.
FC by 4.
He needs to claw back points, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We was talking about this the other day, weren't we? But Susan's got Wakefield by 14, so we're all not a million miles away. Over to Headingley, can Leeds back it up against St Helens after what was a big effort from them on Sunday, and then obviously the easy game that St Helens had. I've got Leeds by 8 again.
I've got Leeds by 10.
Leeds by 6.
I've got Leeds by 10.
Fair enough, and Susan's got Leeds by 10. Over to the Brick, Wigan versus Huddersfield. Wigan have been poor, Huddersfield are worse. I'm going to go with Wigan by 22.
I've only got Wigan by 12. I don't know why, but I feel like that should be wrong. Wigan by 16.
Disappointment in Jimmy's face.
I got Wigan by 10. I don't agree with Craig saying there was poor. There was quite good against Cass last week.
I've got Wigan by 12, but I feel like I should change it to Wigan by 16. But I'll keep it at 12.
Susan's also got Wigan by 12 and just told me in my earpiece he wants to change it to 16.
We should get earpieces.
Yeah, and he's got 12. Over to the LSV, Lee Sports Village. Lee against us, Saturday. Head and Heart are at a battle here. Head is pretty similar to Josh. Heart says Rovers. And if it is going to be Rovers, ram it. If it is Rovers, it'll be convincing.
There's people listening that don't know why you've told me to ram it.
He said I've got a massive head. And I'm going to
Tune
go
in to find out if that's true.
Rovers by 26.
Rovers by 26.
I'm going for it.
Wow.
I got Rovers by 2.
Rovers by 2.
Lee by 1.
Susan's got Rovers by 8. Over in the south of France, Catalans Warrington. Can't split these. 2 awfully poor teams at the moment. Obviously, Warrington's is down to injuries. Catalans are just poor. Warrington by 4.
Catalan by 10.
Wire by 12.
Why by 10?
Susan's got Wire by 6. Final game of the weekend over at the Community Stadium in Salford. Salford-Castleford. I'm going for Castleford by 18.
Castleford by 22.
Castleford by 24.
Cast by 20.
And Susan's got
Whoa,
cast
whoa,
by...
whoa, whoa, whoa. Where's your standard against Salford? 40?
It's Cass in it.
New coach. Maybe by 40 this week. You'll be gutted, won't you?
You'll be
I'll
gutted.
absolutely
You'll be almost as
devastated.
gutted as when Mikey put that drop goal over at Warrington. Because it took
Oh,
it just
yeah, I
off
know. I
the
was
point
fuming with
threshold.
that.
Susan's got cast by 20.
You've been copying off my notes.
He's not wrong.
If you
He
didn't
is
hear
not
that, he
wrong.
said,
I am at the
you're
bottom."
at the bottom, no effing chance. Not wrong though, is he?
I was a point and a half behind you,
And
Craig.
now you're 4.
And now I'm 4, yeah, I know.
Does it ache a little bit that me and you should have a bonus 5 points for Challenge Cup,
Yeah, definitely.
and now we're not allowed to use them?
Yeah.
You'd be
Thanks,
well
Susan.
clear, wouldn't you? You'd be 7 points clear.
Would I?
Yeah, because you're 2 points clear of me at the minute.
I've still got time to fuck it up.
Yes, I
Oh,
noticed
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Evie got the yellow cap, well, gold cap this week.
Yeah, she did.
Well done. Birthday week, gold cap.
Aye.
Happy days. Oh, well.
Done.
That was really
We're not
impressive.
done yet.
Well, that was the quick hour we said it would be.
Something like that, yeah.
29.
Anyway, before we go, I just want to say thanks again to Tribal for letting us in, specifically Amy, because you've got nothing better to do with your life. And Comscaf for sponsoring us again, even though Dean don't listen to the advert. But until next week, see you bye.
See you, bye.
See you, bye.
See you, bye.